There isn't quite a feeling like swinging through buildings, embracing being a hero, and spending time with the one you love. That's what Spider-Man did, and that's who he was as a hero. My hero is Spider-Man, introduced in the early 1960s. Spider-Man is a well-known superhero that happens to be one of my favorites. His ability to be supernatural began with just one bite of a radioactive spider. He was just like any other teenager until that moment. Spider-Man lived two completely different lives. And like Stanley quoted, with great power, there must also be great responsibility. Quoted from The Essential Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1. I couldn't imagine how much dedication it took to maintain a double identity. He had to maintain a normal life, go to school, and somehow take care of his family and have a steady income. While on the other hand, in his second identity, he also spent time fighting crimes, saving people, and battling and fighting villains. Spider-Man was talented in how he balanced that double life. Spider-Man, also known as Peter Parker, is a superhero to me because though he had powers, he always put his family first. He was hardworking and dedicated to what he wanted to do. Over time, he made quite a bit of progress as being a human being. He started off as a timid, nerdy high school student, went on to be a troubled college student, and then later married a high school teacher. After that, he became a photographer. With that, he went on to freelance photography that ended up being an adult role later on in the early 2000s. Not to be forgotten, during all his human being accomplishments, he took down many enemies, villains, and criminals. The thought of being involved in that lifestyle sounds so overwhelming. I do find the thought of spinning and throwing webs to be entertaining though. A flip of the wrist would be all that it took. To have a long rope spider web shoot out of a stick to a nearby surface. Spider-Man put his family first by keeping his secret identity secret from his family. That was the only choice he had to protect his family, the people that he loved. He didn't want to put them at risk because that was the last thing that Peter Parker wanted. Also, there was an unfortunate event with his grandfather where a burglary went wrong and his grandfather passed away. So he dedicated his time to find his grandfather's killer to get revenge on him to get a criminal off the street. The love he had brought out passion to his superhero abilities. Peter was hardworking with becoming a great hero for his city. He was a decent artist and drew his own costume that he wanted to wear. Since he wasn't fortunate with money, he decided to create his own costume. I admire how realistic that is. A lot of other superheroes had an endless amount of money that it seemed to fall straight on their laps, when in all reality, if there were superheroes like that today, it wouldn't have been that way. Spider-Man literally worked for his money and earned the money the old-fashioned way. He didn't win the lottery. He didn't cash out the civilians he rescued for the money. He just plainly worked for it and was a hero to help society. Along with being hardworking, Spider-Man was dedicated to being here for the city, but helping so many lives from danger, embracing his gift, searching for his grandfather's killer, and also keeping the promise to stay away from Gwen to protect her. I don't know how it would be, but I know it would be hard to keep distant from a loved one, only to protect them from the harm that tends to follow them around. That in itself is dedication. The whole idea behind Spider-Man and his story is something that most people can relate to. The people reading or viewing this can relate to it because all of us as an all-American family all have their own problems and struggles. Almost everything is relatable about Peter Parker. Being a teenager, we often wish to be something that we can't be. Peter was a nerd, then with just one bite of a spider, he was the tough guy. Teenagers and even adults can relate to such a great superhero such as Spider-Man because at least some point in our lives we have experienced the same high school fears as Peter did. When all that changed for him, it caused us to get excited or happy for Peter. By being that way for him, builds an even stronger fan base that I believe still stands today. In my belief, he is one of the top superheroes because of the respect he gives his family, his hardworking mindset, and the motivation to actually be a hero. And now I'm going to demonstrate with a video on his abilities, on what he did to help society. Thank you.